Welcome to the Cerebral Valley podcast. I'm Eric Newcomer. We're calling this Fear-Mongering and Forecasting. We're looking to the future. We're making predictions, or really, I think we're going to be relying on AI and chatbots to make our predictions, and then we will shit all over them. I'm here with Max Child.
Hey, Eric.
And James Wilsterman.
Hey guys, ready to make some hot take predictions here.
We're going to use both OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Anthropic, so we'll also get sort of the meta sense of which bot is making better predictions. But yeah, excited. What is AI if not constantly looking to the future and charting out what could be given the rate of growth we've seen so far? So it's very fitting that in our last episode, before the Cerebral Valley AI Summit on November 20th in San Francisco, we are going to fiendishly fantasize about what could be to come. This episode is presented by Brex, the financial stack that founders and VCs can truly bank on. Imagine what your founders could do with their runway if they had a banking solution that had no minimums, no transaction fees, and 20 times the standard FDIC protection. Plus, they could earn an industry-leading yield while maintaining access to funds whenever needed. Brex simplifies financial services for startups so they can focus on building. Connect your portfolio to the financial stack that 1 in 3 U.S. venture-backed startups already use. Check out brex.com/banking-solutions. Without further ado, James.
So for this episode, I asked both ChatGPT and Claude the same question to come up with a list of predictions about AI for the year 2025. I also asked the predictions to be hyper-specific and falsifiable so that by the end of 2025, we could easily determine whether the predictions were correct or incorrect. The predictions I said could be spicy, medium, mild, however hot.
Thai spicy.
I didn't get any pepper emojis out on the output. Maybe I should ask for that. But the predictions, I was pretty happy with how they came out. And I asked, relevant to the AI industry. And then I also asked to get a probability estimate for each prediction. So then you guys are going to be able to provide me kind of the over-under take on each prediction.
So we have our own prediction market, basically.
Exactly. We basically created a bunch of possible prediction markets around AI. And you guys have to decide whether you're short or long each prediction.
Nice.
How's that sound?
I love
Great.
it. Is this
excited.
GPT 01 or is this 4.0?
Yeah, this is
okay.
ChatGPT 01 preview and Claude Sonnet 3.5.
Okay, so the most thinking-oriented AI models.
We're paying the big bucks here. We're premium subscribers for.
we're bankrupt after running these predictions, guys. But no, these are the best AI can do in a consumer product. It feels. I was pretty impressed. Like I was kind of skeptical actually that this would work that well. I think AI has a tendency to provide sort of generic takes in a lot of ways, but if you prompt it correctly, I was able to get these really specific predictions, which I think is key.
This is for 12 months from now. Like, what's the date? These
the year 25. Yeah,
by the end of 2025, December 31st.
Okay.
Cool. All right, let's do it.
All right. We'll start with 01 preview from OpenAI and ChatGPT. So here's the first prediction. So
we have not heard these before, to be clear. Max and I are coming in blind. Unless you guys are co-founders, so maybe you're in cahoots.
Nope,
but,
I got nothing. Running blind.
All right. So first prediction, OpenAI will release ChatGPT or GPT-5 exceeding 10 trillion parameters. What do you guys think?
How many parameters is 4 again? 1 trillion?
The bot's already smarter than me.
Is that?
You're like, what's a parameter?
Isn't it like 400 billion? Can we get the number of the current? It's like 4 or 500 billion, right? 1.5 trillion. Okay, let's add the elevator music here.
1.76 trillion is the rumors.
Okay,
and
1 to 2. Okay.
So this would be almost,
what's it predicting? Sorry, how many?
A 10x, like a 7x, basically, or whatever.
And we think the current is 1.7 something.
Yeah. Also, the probability for this prediction is 50%. So,
Oh, over. Smash the over on that.
Wait. Sorry, is it making a claim about the name of it? Because I feel like I was just listening to Dario on Lex Friedman, and like I feel like half of his like hemming and hawing about what they're gonna do is like not committing to the name of various models because they're doing all these like half updates and stuff. So how much is this a prediction about what the model is going to be called?
I think we can decide there, but I would say both have to come true, the GPT-5 naming and the 10 trillion. I think, if I'm reading the tea leaves of what O1 was thinking and reasoning about here, maybe they're saying, hey, 10 trillion is a big step up to the point where it would have to almost be called, GPT-5.
Right. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of pedantic, but I would smash the over on a model that it has 10 trillion parameters, but I don't know if they're going to call it GPT-5.
Exactly.
I feel like Altman has been...
You committed to over already. I think the name...
Okay, fine. I'll commit.
Why are you guys so skeptical that it's going to be called GPT-5?
They're just chaotic on the names. The names are bad at the moment. Yeah, it's hysterical that we get... You introduced it as like OpenAI, ChatGPT, O1. Like, they need to like... I mean, Anthropic has more colorful names, but they're getting chaotic.
Sure, but
so I'm going to just take the under on the basis of the name. In terms of the parameters, I'm probably bullish. I mean, thankfully it's a compound prediction, but the under.
Okay, all right. Well, I will stick with my over, but I mean, I think they're basically running into like the iPhone 4S, 5S, 6S problem where Apple used to give the like in between phones like, an S instead of a new number. And then I think the marketing team realized like people want to see the number go up. Like we don't buy new iPhones unless the number goes from 14 to 15. So I think this is why GBT's trying to move off these numbers, because I think they're like, nobody wants the new model unless we give it a higher number, right? And they're like, they don't even care if we introduce like 4.0 and voice mode and, O1 and all this stuff. So I feel like Altman is severely foreshadowing that they're going to drop these numbers.
I do think
you're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm taking the over. 50% is a good price. Right. I just think I understand where they're coming from with the names.
James, are you making predictions? Well, you'll give us your quick take.
Yeah, I'll just react to your guys' takes. I think that, you guys are way too focused on the naming conventions. I think the reason they are calling things like 4.0 and O1 preview is to try to like, downplay the model a little bit before the next evolution of the model. Like, I think they will stick with the GPT 4, 5, 6 naming convention, but they will need it to be kind of a step change, improvement on the model. So I do think a 10 trillion parameter model will get that name.
But there's an open question. I mean, this is going to be probably coming up throughout, just like how monumental is a 10 trillion parameter model change, right? Like
that's true.
If they have consumed basically all the data there is to consume, and synthetic data has its limits,
that's fair. So then if there's not a step change in the model capabilities, maybe they don't give a new name. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Good first discussion there.
Are you over or under though? I never got that part.
I'm over. Okay. I mean, if you want me to make my own prediction,
you got to come in.
Just say. Just put it on.
Say what you are.
I'll take the over. Okay. All right. So next prediction from ChatGPT, we have by the end of 2025, at least 3 countries will have implemented regulations at the national level, specifically governing the use of AI to diagnose healthcare disease.
And what's the price on that?
70% probability.
Oh, short. Way short. I just think it's really, it takes a long time to write legislation. I mean, you're saying like national level entities are going to write complex legislation about healthcare and AI in the next 14 months. I don't know.
It seems interesting though.
I'll grab you.
Go ahead. I'll let Eric answer, but you're just skeptical.
I'm taking the over. I mean, I don't want to just do the opposite of Max every time here, but I do.
That's good.
There are a lot of countries. We've actually seen aggressive AI regulation already. There's clearly a lot of appetite. And I don't think this prediction requires some sort of comprehensive. They just need some regulation touching sort of health health diagnostics, right?
Yeah,
I guess
specifically
the
diagnostics.
question is like, is some random EU regulator issuing a decree count as 35 countries?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I
doing
think it
this?
should.
Like,
I think it should.
well, yeah, of course you think it should. But like, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know,
This episode is going to be about the nature of predictions more than the substance underlying.
As every
like,
good
what is-
game, you know, for every good game, we've realized the rules are really what's most important to discuss, not the actual
okay. All
core
right.
of the gameplay.
All right. Well, I'm still grabbing the under here, but yeah, that just seems like a lot of work for 3 different nation states to execute in the 12-month time frame. Would be my.
Are we getting more does he get more return on his investment for predicting something that was at 70%?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that we could
I
do
think.
something like that. If you take the over on a low probability prediction, and then at the end of next year, you're proven correct, I think we'll give you some more points.
I think we need ROI. Like,
let's save the exact math.
Right, exactly.
Table the scoring.
Could we get
system,
into another
or we'll be here
rules
for
discussion?
3 days.
James,
okay.
what are you picking?
Okay, I am taking the over there, and I think, you know, we're just going to see this come up a lot in the next year, is like people using AI for their jobs, maybe in areas where they're not supposed to. And I just think that'll be a key kind of political discussion point is, hey, why is my doctor, you know, using ChatGPT, right? And is that should that be legal? So I wouldn't be surprised by 3 countries taking.
I want them to be clear, or like as an assistant.
I think it would be good. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
Right.
maybe it should be a little bit regulated, right? There should be something.
I might just be biased based on living in the United States, where we have just epic legislative gridlock. But yeah, I mean,
they passed AI regulations in California.
Well,
that's true.
I mean, you're
Not
saying
the big one, but
you're saying the state government. Yeah, okay.
Which is like one of the.
Well, they
top
didn't
10
pass it
largest
because
economies.
the
They passed
governor
other ones. They passed
vetoed
other
it.
ones.
Okay.
There were other things.
This prediction specifically says national law,
yes,
so those wouldn't count.
Yeah.
All right,
But
moving on.
Europe's anyway. Sorry.
Moving on. Prediction. By December 2025, Tesla will release fully self-driving cars that are legally approved for unsupervised operation on public roads in at least one U.S. state.
What's the price?
We are saying 40% probabilities.
Interesting. I'll go over. Actually, one of my predictions coming in was around Tesla AV capabilities. I just think that Waymo's proved it's possible. Elon's got more chips than anyone. They've got more video data than anyone. They're obsessed with this problem. He thinks it's the entire future of the company. And then coming down to the ticky-tacky state approval bit, you know, he's got his boy in the White House, and he's got friends in every Republican government in America. So, like, fucking Wyoming could approve this shit, and you win the bet. So I think that I'll take the over at 40%.
So it's to be driving like without a driver behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's, I think, unsupervised, meaning you don't have to
I
have
still think there's a very likely scenario where it's like in Texas or Wyoming or whatever, you know, you can sort of allow it to drive, but people are effectively behind the wheel. Like, I'm not very bullish on Tesla's like technology. I don't think.
Are you talking about like remote assistance, like remote drivers taking over or something? Or like, I think that would,
that would count or not?
Like, that would count. Like, that's what Waymo does, right?
Waymo has remote takeover if there's an issue.
Remote takeover.
Yeah.
Is,
But it's a little, it's like if remote, how is what they have right now not already passing that? Like, people are allowed to use autopilot.
You're talking about Tesla. Tesla,
Yeah.
From a legal perspective, you have to have a driver in the car behind the wheel ready to take over at a moment's notice, basically.
It also has to be supervised, like, you know, that you have to be looking at the road or it'll disengage. Like, they have a camera on your eyes that checks if you're watching the road or not. And it gets mad at you if you're like on your phone. I've tried this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If it literally throws a warning up on the screen saying, I can tell you're looking at your phone. And I'm like, well, what's the point of self-driving if I can't look at my phone? Like, that's the entire use case.
I think I'm taking the over just because of all the sort of seeming cases where this would count as approved. I don't think they're close to Waymo. I'm not bullish on Tesla's approach, but I think there are lots of ways to sort of fudge this with humans still sort of behind the wheel.
All right, for bonus points, which is the first state that will allow this?
Texas.
Texas would be the obvious choice, but it's also really big, and there's a lot of complicated roads and cities and stuff there. So I don't know.
But does it have to be the whole state for the rules? Or
Yes.
Yeah, it's a state
interesting.
government, right? Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
the whole state?
It says one state will approve it,
that's
right?
interesting. You mean like Waymo
Yeah.
is not in the whole state; it's in San
Right.
Francisco.
Right.
I think it would just have to be not the whole state, but
Somewhere in the
within,
state.
somewhere
right.
in the state.
Yeah,
Well,
because
then
if it was the
Texas
whole
is the-
state, I would change my whole. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it
That's
has to be
interesting,
Texas.
I guess. Like, I wasn't even thinking, you'd be able to own a Tesla, but only use it for full self-driving if you're in
Certain
one
cities.
city. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. All right, Texas. All right, we'll see how that plays out.
James?
Oh yeah, my take. Taking the over as well. I think you guys are spot on. Yeah, I think I will actually go a little contrarian and take California as the first state. that allows it.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next prediction. We have another prediction from ChatGPT. By the end of 2025, AI-generated content will constitute at least 50% of online news articles published by a major news outlet. Probability 30%.
What's major? Again, I think this is a key question here. Like, how major?
We'll litigate it after the fact.
All right.
What
just
would be-
capital M major. I mean, like
I'm
watching.
I'm taking the over. I think Condé Nast is clearly major. I think Forbes is probably
Forbes
major.
is major,
And
yeah.
I think if you're just talking articles, we've seen a lot of media just be willing to produce a lot of articles to, get gobbled up by SEO. And so it's not necessarily the majority of their homepage, but the majority of the articles, one outlet, I say yes.
I think at 30, I'd grab the over. I just think 3-1 odds on that, or 2-1 odds sounds pretty good. I think, to your point, like, yeah, the SB Nation network I could see, or Vox or whatever, like, just somebody is gonna give into the SEO temptation to have a crap load of articles generated by AI that people are gonna link to. So
And will they talk about that publicly, do you think? Like, will they?
No,
will we
I'm sure there will be
know?
some journalist that gets leaked to in a bar where Eric lives in Brooklyn, and then somebody will write an angry
There's sort of
story
I
about
don't
it.
think Axios would necessarily do it, but there's definitely a breed of sort of business first media publication that would brag about this to seem cutting edge.
I bet someone will write a cranky article before
I'm
somebody
sure.
brags about it. But
before? I don't know.
yeah, we'll see.
Will
James?
AI itself break the news that this outlet? No. Okay. I'm
Not
gonna
until
take-
it hooks up to the Bitcoin network and starts getting paid for it.
I'll take the under on 30%. I'm
Okay.
sure we'll have to litigate what constitutes a major outlet, but I'm skeptical that it'll hit 50% of articles. Like I mean, at least in the next year, I think that it'll maybe start, kind of long form, like some indie blogger or something will be generating hundreds of thousands of articles or something with AI next year. But I'm skeptical that a major outlet will be doing that at that scale next year. But we'll see.
I just
Lying media outlets.
I just go with the Logan Roy attitude here, which is that money wins, and there's a lot of private equity firms that own these now, and
If they're not doing this, the
yeah,
management will get fired.
This is an
basically.
amazing way to cost cut, and it's also an amazing way to get links, from Google search. So I just think it's going to be very tempting for a lot of these companies.
All right, next prediction. By December 31st, 2025, the first AI-generated feature-length film will be released in theaters with the script and visuals both entirely crafted by AI. 25% probability.
Under. I'm crushing the under on that. I just think that you have to do a deal with theaters that get distribution, and Hollywood's going to lose their effing minds if somebody tries to do this in the next year. So I just think the the gears of entertainment don't turn that quickly. I'm not saying somebody won't generate a feature film by the end of 25 that plausibly could be in a theater, although I would actually debate that as well. But I think that the odds that it's like actually released in theaters, I'm super under on that. They barely let Netflix into the Oscars.
And your mistake is misunderstanding the entertainment industry, even though you grew up in LA area, but you can pay to play in theaters any day. Like there are all these sort of there are all these films that sort of pay to get theater distribution so that they count for stuff, and you can absolutely do that. I'm taking the over. There are tons of companies with an interest to have this achieved, and somebody will just buy the theater plays.
So you have the by the U.S. Constitution angle here, which is somebody's just gonna fucking do it because it's gonna sound cool, basically,
right?
And pay to play the theaters. Okay, I mean, there's already a film that Sarah, my wife, saw that. There are some boundaries. Like it was shot by humans, but then it reorders based on AI. So that was already in theaters. So I think this is a good robust debate. I like that you're like. You guys believe in the forces of change, and I believe in the entrenched hating institutions.
I haven't taken my.
Well, I was referencing the legislation discussion from earlier, but yeah, this is a meta point about how quickly the gears of power turn, and you guys are like really quick, and I'm like, I don't know. So, all right, James, what do you think?
I am also taking the under on this one.
Yes,
and not for any remote reason around theater distribution, but just purely from model capability. Like the specification of this prediction is that the script and visuals have to entirely be created by AI. I think that we are not there on visuals. We're barely there on scripting. I
don't think we're there on scripting either. By the way, I haven't seen a script
on
that's
this. As you started the episode with. Is that there's a lot of control in models over prompting. And so it's like if they could prompt a whole script into it and then output a script and say, oh, it's AI. And that I just think there's such a strong incentive for the result to be, oh, it was AI, that humans can put a lot of thought into it and get what they want.
I don't think it'll be hard to do a script. I mean, it won't be a good script, but I do think it'll be hard to create a full feature length. Does it say it says feature length? So I don't know. That's probably 120 minutes or something of visuals. Like that's extremely expensive to create, and also B, it's like very hard to get any sort of consistency of the characters or anything. I'm just skeptical of the visual aspect.
I think our guys at Runway will personally make sure this happens.
Right. Yeah, probably the guys. It's probably the way Eric wins is that our friends at Runway just bribe a theater chain into doing it basically, and show
it
terrible.
They listen to this episode and they're like
they're like, Eric's got some skin in the game, and we're going to help him out here.
We do this. Eric is going to brag about us on the next year's CBAI episodes.
I don't know. They haven't even released Sora, yet, or Veo.
It's coming soon. Somebody was just one of the competitors. I think Runway maybe was saying we think Sora is about to come.
All right, good discussion. Let's switch over to Claude and see how Anthropic's predictions do and how you guys respond to the probabilities. And then we can have a little discussion at the end of who's better at predicting, but meta discussion. But starting with...
We're already having a discussion about our opinions on their predictions, and then we're going to have a higher level discussion about our opinions of the relative predictive power of the two models.
And then we're going to have AI watch this episode and react to our predictions.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, okay. I guess on a certain level, thinking about AI is all about intelligence. So it's like, how do we introspect on introspection even more? Anyway.
Sure.
True, yeah. Somebody someday will be teaching a class in university about this episode. And...
All right. Too self-indulgent.
All right. Starting with Claude's first prediction, by December 31st, 2025, at least 3 major smartphone manufacturers, among Apple, Samsung, Google, and Xiaomi, will release phones with dedicated AI coprocessors capable of running large language models with at least 7 billion parameters entirely on device. Probability, 75%.
Man, the parameters ones are where I'm like...
I don't even know how many parameters they can run on device right now. Can't they run 7 billion locally already? Is that wrong?
I think that the Apple Intelligence chip can run 7 billion, right?
I thought it's at least 3 to 4.
3 billion.
3, but yeah, okay, 3 to 4.
Okay.
All right, I got it. I nailed it.
Apple's current, just to reiterate there, Apple's current on-device LLM uses a 100% local LLM with 3 billion parameters, and then can also connect to external servers for larger parameter models.
And what's the price on this?
Over 75%.
Ooh.
Or probability 75%.
Okay. Well, I'm going to grab the under on that because I think dedicated coprocessor is really what's holding me back here, because that requires like a separate chip essentially to go into the hardware. I'm a avid follower of Apple rumors, and I have not gotten any sense that they're interested in adding chips, like separate chips to their system to do this kind of thing. And so you'd basically have to get Xiaomi, Google, and Samsung to all do this separate chip in the next year. And there's not really a clear sentiment that that's necessary to run these models. So yeah, I'll take the under at 75 for sure.
You sold me under.
Hardware timelines are really long, and that's only a slightly larger model than they can already run locally. So it's just not clear to me that
the parameters make sense. And it's also not all these on device for Google. Like, is that really in their mission? Like, there's so much like, oh, we'll send everything to the cloud. Like, are they really?
Yeah.
Apple's the one selling like everything will happen on device. But
I think I'd like grab the over at like 10% on this, but at 75, I think I'd under big time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm hearing what you're saying on the dedicated aspect, but like, I feel like you could quibble with that semantically of like, as long as it's a GPU at all that is dedicated to running AI tasks, like that's what the GPU.
But they already have a GPU, right? I mean,
yeah.
like,
Well, okay, so they have essentially a GPU, and then there's a set of there's like a set of cores, right?
I guess it's just
what is the neural engine? I guess is what I'm.
Yeah, it's like, are we counting the current neural engine that's been on there for like 8 years already as a yes to this? Because then it's like, sure, like I guess. I mean, like, but I don't think that's the spirit of the prediction, right?
Okay.
like the thing they've had on the phones for the last 8 years is
I don't know.
Counts now.
So far, ChatGPT is beating Anthropic because I feel like this is a weird
quality of prediction.
I don't love this whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, James, just pick, and we'll litigate everything afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the over, and I'll try to litigate my take that the neural engine.
All right. Great.
All right. Prediction number 2. Anthropic will release a model that achieves a score above 90% on the Unified Benchmark for AI Reasoning, or BAR evaluation suite, which will become the first model to outperform the human expert baseline of 87%. Probability 65%.
Where are they at right now?
Unified. What was the metric? It was unified.
The bar.
Unified Benchmark for AI Reasoning. We're all gonna frantically Google for that.
Yeah.
It's funny that we have Anthropic predicting its own intelligence
capabilities. I know.
I mean, a key part of this is the claim that it's the first, also, right? It says first, right?
Yeah, so it'll become the first model.
For the record, is this benchmark real? I can't find this benchmark. Is this benchmark being hallucinated? I think
my god!
I can't find this unified benchmark for AI reasoning. Like, it's like
my god!
I was like, I've never heard of this benchmark. Like,
I love it. That's crazy.
Did this hallucinate a benchmark?
I mean, can you find it? Like.
It says something about our deference that at first I did assume
that,
like,
I did not defer. I did no. I
assume that it.
Do not loop me into this deference.
Really? I feel
I immediately Googled it. I was like, what? I've never heard of this. I've heard of like MMLU. I've heard of like, a couple other evals, but I've never heard of the bar, like, or whatever.
Maybe this is like internal to Anthropic. Maybe this is like we'll all be proven idiots when this becomes a benchmark,
right?
And then
they leak this.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I will. I will take the under, given I'm not sure this benchmark is real.
I guess
65.
if it doesn't exist, we can create it, and y'all rule it.
Yeah.
And you can make it true.
We'll have to do some more Googling later.
Okay, but I don't think this benchmark exists for my own research.
Just for the listener to get to the substance. I know we're focused on technicalities. Do you think someone will surpass sort of human intelligence overall by the end of next year? And do you think it will be Anthropic first? Just quick take.
In some kind of evaluation, you're saying basically yeah, for sure. I sort of think we're like already there, but I guess it depends what invented benchmark we're
exactly
using.
That's the take I was going to get, which is we have sort of quietly passed humans on a lot of things already, and we're just this, since people, smartest in every domain still remains smarter than it, like we've sort of undersold how exciting it is for it to be smarter than the average human on a lot of stuff.
Totally.
Next prediction from Claude. At least 5 Fortune 500 companies will replace more than 25% of their middle management positions with AI systems for task delegation and performance monitoring, publicly acknowledging this transition in their annual reports. Probability 25%. 25% chance that 25% of middle management positions get axed.
But what if they become ICs? If they become individual contributors but they don't get fired, is this met?
I think that this would be met because I think that we're saying task delegation and performance monitoring, meaning it's most of the management responsibilities.
I'll take the over, and my reasoning is essentially just that there's a lot of companies. There's in fact 500 companies in the Fortune 500, and
a lot. There's some number.
There's a pretty high number, somewhere around 500 of them, and plenty of those companies are not growing or shrinking and need to cut talent in some way or another to manage the business, and this will be the greatest freaking
cover story.
Yeah, exactly. Smoke and mirrors, look over here, like the left hand's doing some AI.
We're not doing layoffs because our company sucks.
Right. This is going to be an amazing way to drop in your earnings report that we had to lay off a bunch of people, but it's cool because it's about the future, dog. We're adopting AI. So I think that I just totally buy that. 5 out of 500 will need to do that in the next year. And AI is just an amazing cover story for doing layoffs.
What's the percent,
Eric?
James?
They need to replace more than 25% of their management positions, and the probability is 25% that this occurs.
Oh wow! So it's a much better return for me to say yes.
You get a 4x return on the yes here.
Over.
Okay.
Over.
Yeah, I think the cover story. I'm not as excited about AI in middle management necessarily. But I do think there are too many middle managers. Like we have this whole separate trend of Facebook and companies saying, let's just be flatter organizations overall. And I feel like we're in that trend. And I do agree that the AI trend is sort of going to get mixed in with that. But I'm not convinced that AI is going to come for the middle managers first. I think it's going to supplement sort of the coders and frontline. To me, the deployment model is more like people are actually doing the work, figuring out how AI makes them better, and sort of adding it to just making themselves look better to their bosses. And I think that's how my model for how AI is getting deployed in workplaces, which is just sort of like people hacking shit together and delivering results. But I'm still taking the over.
Yeah, I don't know. You kind of convinced me to take the under there. I think that AI will have a much bigger impact on sort of IC roles, and we've seen this already in some of the customer service oriented companies sort of announcing and bragging that they can hire less representatives. So I think we're more likely to see that first before companies start taking this AI approach on management, but could be wrong.
25% is a big number at a Fortune 500.
Exactly.
Are they gonna? I think I'm gonna. My whole argument is the under. I feel like I should just
No, you're
with
not
the
allowed to
under
switch.
and-
You
Really?
you made me
I mean,
not
I
switch
was
on like
sort of
two of
really
them
on the
already.
fence. I can see the advantage.
No,
If you don't
You're
want
on
me
the
to switch, I
fence,
won't.
you know. No,
No,
just
no.
take
So
over.
I'm committed,
You're stuck
or-
on the over.
You're
Yeah,
committed.
All right. It's just
I had to
funny that I
commit.
made the whole case for the
I
opposite
know.
of what
I
I
know.
did.
Well,
but-
thank you. Thank you for your.
All right. Once you say
All
the
right.
words, you're locked.
Yeah, once you say the
editing
words,
of
you're
this
locked.
podcast, apparently.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the next prediction from Claude. This prediction is that DeepMind, or let's say Google broadly, will demonstrate an AI system capable of discovering at least one novel pharmaceutical compound that also passes phase 1 clinical trials, reducing that typical discovery to trial timeline by around 50%. We will just specifically say that it has to have discovered a compound and passed phase 1 trials within the next year. Probability 20%.
I'm going to take the Max worldview, which is like a lot of these are predictions about society. And I definitely don't think drug approvals are going to sort of just get much faster because AI companies say they should. So I'm going to take the under.
Who's running the FDA, I guess, is another.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's Trump.
I'm
It's
only
Trump.
conflicted because the Trump administration is about to take over.
But they
and,
don't like Google. They're not going to like fast track
Yeah,
Google. That's the last company.
that's
That's the
true.
company they want to hate the most.
Yeah, they don't like the FD, they don't like Google. They also like pretend they didn't do Operation Warp Speed, even though that was like the coolest thing ever.
I don't really know how long like phase 1 specifically.
I know. I don't
typically
know a lot about.
I mean,
that,
I know
but
the
it does
entire
save half the time, right?
Yeah.
So it has.
I know
to
the
be
entire-
faster.
takes. No. I'm not. I think that's just like kind of an additive, less necessary component of the prediction, reducing the
What?
typical discovery. Okay, so well, it just says bypassing phase 1 clinical trial within a year, it is reducing
Which
the typical.
would be very fast.
Would be a 50% improvement in speed, I guess.
I know the
of
entire
discovery
timeline is
to
like
passage,
is
right?
like
So
10 to 15 years, and so it's on the order of years for sure for phase 1. Gosh, yeah, I think I just got to stick with my. I don't believe that the institutions change as fast as the technology here, and take the under. Even though 20% with the new administration is appealing. That's just feels like a high bar to pass phase 1 trials.
It does seem
13
like
months.
phase 1 involves actual experiments on
Yeah.
things, which
Yes.
AI cannot speed up. I just read Dario's essay, and like one of the main points that he makes in his bull case on AI is just a lot of the limits will be human systems and things where you have to run real world experiments. And even if it has good ideas, the experiments could take a while. Anyway,
All right,
All right.
under,
what did
under.
you say?
I'm taking the under too. I think that this just seems too fast to occur. Would you guys take the over on Google entering phase 1 trials or something with something?
Yeah, I think there'll be a
Yeah.
discovery or some.
Yeah.
next year.
registering for them or something.
Over 20%.
I mean,
I would take the over on 20%.
obviously, Demis at DeepMind is quite passionate about biology as a major application for AI. So yeah, I mean, I think that would be a cool thing for them to demo. Say, hey, look, we made a drug.
Yeah. All right. Let's do one more from Claude. All right. Prediction. The first international treaty specifically governing AI development and deployment would be ratified by 15 countries or more, including 3 of the following countries: US, China, EU, UK,
What's
or
the percentage
Japan.
on this? Is 5%? Like
Yeah, what is
the
this, like a
percentage on it?
1%?
With legally binding commitments on things like model evaluation
Oh
and
my
safety
God.
standards.
What is the
No
percentage
way.
they gave?
Yeah.
50%.
Oh
Oh my
come on.
God! This is
That's the
Claude's
that's
an
the-
idiot. I feel like
that's the-
ChatGPT did much
that's
better.
that's
Like,
the,
no
that's the
way.
easiest under.
Claude's
Big time
like
under.
Claude's like dreaming of this fantasy safety world or something
Right.
where every country has come together.
U.S. and China are like didn't get the memo.
You don't need the U.S. or China because
Oh.
you only need 3 of these entities. So
Oh,
you
sorry,
could have
we got-
the EU, UK, and Japan all entering some sort of treaty.
Okay, interesting.
EU, I would believe. I mean, UK
Sure.
though is sort of. I mean, I
just-
definitely am picking the under.
I just feel like the UK is a mess economically right now. Like, is the Labor Party really going to be like, yeah, guys, we're not fixing the economy, but we signed this dumb AI treaty that none of you care about? Like, I don't know. I think they got bigger fish to fry there. Yeah, under a 50 for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Taking the under on that. Yeah, I think this is Claude's own fever dream of hoping for
A better
a
place,
better
a
world
better world
for AI.
where Claude itself is highly regulated.
Yes, yeah. Okay, great work, everyone.
That was fun.
That was fun. How do you guys think ChatGPT did compared to Claude? What do you like about the different predictions?
Well, it seemed like Claude made up some stuff. I did think it had a little bit of a safetyism trend line. So I don't know. They're all blur to me, but it felt like the first half were
Yeah.
sort of more interesting than the second.
It seemed like GBT's predictions were more entertaining as well as more somewhat realistic, I guess. So I think I would give GPT the clear victory in this round of entertaining and reasonably accurate predictions.
They
Maybe a win
prompted you
for
prompted the
O1
same
for reasoning models.
Yeah, you prompted exactly the same stuff, or
Exact same prompt. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes me more excited for the full version of O1 coming out.
Yeah.
That should probably be one of our predictions. I think that's coming out this year, right? Is the rumor?
I mean, the zoom out thing that I took from this is just how much human systems interplay with the things we want AI to deliver. And even if we are bullish on rapid development of AI, there are a lot of things where we're like, well, the human systems will still effectively limit what it can do. That's self-driving, drug development, sort of everything under the sun. And so I think that's interesting to come out of this, how much, this sort of societal piece is still sort of a strong lever on what AI can accomplish.
I feel like the way we get to that treaty is that something horrible goes on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
something
true.
AI
Yeah, we
agent.
underestimated Black Swan type.
We'd have to narrowly escape from some horrible thing to get a binding treaty between a bunch of countries, I think. In a year.
Then we'll look really dumb. Yeah, it's like AI does figure out how to
although we just had
paper clips or whatever to send a nuclear bomb.
We just had a pandemic, and there were nothing came out of that. Like,
Move on.
It's not like
certain types of tragedies that bother us more than others.
Yeah, but the U.S., China, and the EU didn't get together and be like, "Hey, maybe we should control pandemics a little more carefully. Let's regulate that a little bit." It's like, nah, we got through it. Don't worry about it.
Let's just get on the record. I mean, the core, just because it is a prediction episode, and we got into sort of the technicals. Do you think the models will be significantly smarter next year? By the end of next year, in that we'll see the same basic rate of progress, meaning these are PhD level thinkers
I think,
by the end of next year.
I think next year, the overall take from this discussion, like you said, is the difference between things that can be facilitated by software, things that can require hardware, and then things that require institutions and government and so on, right? And I think next year, it's going to be a crazy year for leaps forward in software. I think that GPT-5 is going to come. I think O1 or O2 or whatever the GPT-5 level version of the thinking model is going to come. I think these computer use APIs, as I said in a previous episode, are just an incredibly powerful interface to the internet and the software world for these models. And so I think it's going to be a crazy, crazy software year. I think it'll be the beginning of the impact on hardware and institutions. But it feels like the old Intel tick-tock strategy, where you have 1 year where you have huge progress and then 1 year of refinement, and that's the tick and the talk or whatever. I think 24 was kind of a talk year where we didn't have really dramatic progress on the models, but we started to see the existing models eat away at all these tools and software that we have. And now next year, I think we're gonna have a big, big tick year, and that'll be the foundation for societal transformation for years and decades to come. So I'm very long model progress in 25.
I think that next year we'll be talking about this trend of AI getting slower and slower. So we started out with the
just going
slower. Sorry, define slower.
Sorry, no. I'm not talking about reasoning capability. I'm talking about inference time, essentially. And basically, what we've seen already is with O1, right? It now takes 5 to 30 seconds to return an answer, but it can be better. What we're hearing is that, internally, at least in OpenAI, they feel like that's a whole new scaling paradigm to get better and better reasoning is inference time compute. And what I think, we'll see is like Max said, a lot of these computer use models are opening up opportunities for kind of agentic systems. And we'll start to see, people like ourselves using these models that take hours to return us information, right? So Eric could go talk to an agent and just be like, hey, could you go research this thing for an upcoming article I'm writing? Or, Max and I could have one of these agents go off and kind of research some game genre that we're looking to build, right? But it will just take longer and longer to return. And I think that'll be a really interesting trend. And I think that, maybe that's the prediction for our own internal usage of how we're going to be changing how we work with these AI systems. But I also think more specific prediction for like industry or enterprise would be that we're going to see a lot of use cases in sort of the finance space for these agents, right? Like there will be new forms of hedge funds or investment groups that are like using these agents to actually trade. And, maybe we'll see that primarily in crypto, but I could also see that occurring in sort of traditional assets. But I do think we're going to see a lot of like adoption of these agentic models to like trade their own portfolios on behalf of their, human kind of owners or overseers, I guess.
I mean, this isn't a prediction, and I think it's sort of. I mean, I think one thing we are seeing is that intelligence can be out there, and a lot of people don't know how to use it, right? So I think we're going to see, obviously, this uptick in applications taking existing, the intelligence that has been proven with OpenAI, Anthropic, and others, and making it much more straightforward for people to use it in particular use cases. And I think there's going to be a ton of money there. So that's applications, which we've talked a lot about. And then I think the other piece that you're sort of touching on is that there are going to be these sort of specialists that appreciate how intelligent these models are. And they're going to figure out either how to use it and make money on it directly or become service providers for people who haven't really figured it out and do things better and say, all right, just pay me. I'll solve this problem. Secretly, I'm using AI, or not so secretly, I'm using AI, so I can do it cheaper than you. And I think that's how we're going to see these two models. There's sort of two ways people are going to implement AI. And I think so we'll see more AI applications and AI service companies. And, the AI applications will almost certainly lag the actual power, the thinking power of AI. So it'll be an interesting sort of push and pull there.
For sure.
Cool. Yeah, super fun. Well, I feel, I don't know, James, you'll try and come up with a score of those predictions. I don't know. I think to me, they were more like the draft. I am invested in the outcome. I feel like these predictions were more thought experiment than necessarily to me the sort of perfect proxy for what we think, how accurately we see what's coming in AI, but certainly enjoyed it.
That was a fun concept, fun episode. Yeah.
Great.
Well, really demonstrated that AI was better at creating the grist for the content than we are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were supposed to come up with predictions. It's like,
I got a couple ideas.
I mean, it shows that sometimes like just throwing shit at the wall to react to is better than like overthinking my perfect prediction.
And getting your hot takes live, right? Getting
exactly.
Having to think through it on
seeing
air.
the thinking. That's something that AI is just starting to learn how to do. Humans still win on the showing our thought process. Anyway, we will be back after Cerebral Valley, and we will be publishing all the talks. We're going to be throwing you our favorite clips, and then we will be back with Max and James after the conference, reacting to everything that happened on stage. So come back and see us at Newcomer. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.